Alright, first of all, title clickbait. I got no problems with Jidion. I don't watch his content, but he seems like a chill dude. It's just some of the stuff he says just comes off as either ignorant or disingenuous. I'm leaning more towards the ignorant side. So Jidion posted this video a couple of days ago, Twitch, sexist, and favoritism, which at first glance is a pretty big accusation to make. And I do agree with a lot of the stuff that he's saying in the video and the overall message of the video. And I don't like the Twitch moderation staff either, but it's also pretty easy to dispute some of the stuff he says.
Friend Kai, a black creator over on Twitch. Kai Cenat is the largest and fastest growing streamer on Twitch. Twitch hasn't acknowledged him on Twitter, on any of their social medias. Twitch hasn't ever reached out to him. Twitch hasn't even thrown my boy a bone or anything, offered him a contract, trying to look out for him, saying congratulations, nothing.
So one of the big things he mentions is his friend Kai Cenat, a black creator who's blowing up right now and isn't pushed or promoted. And the reason why someone like Kai Cenat isn't pushed as much is because he's just not marketable to everyone. He says the N-word way too much. I'm pretty sure they consider that to be edgy content. The same goes for someone like Aiden Ross, who's white. I don't think Aiden has ever gotten a shout out from Twitch, even though he started making huge waves last year. The only two big streamers that I think have ever been like promoted by Twitch are like Pokimane and Ninja. They're the cream of the crop streamers. There are reasons why people like Pokimane and Ninja are looked at like the golden children of Twitch. It's because they're not problematic. And by not problematic, I mean their content is generic, super brand safe, and kid friendly. Why do you think Ninja, a white dude, stopped cursing on his streams after he started blowing up? It was to be more family friendly so he'd get way more brand deals. There's no shot that if Ninja stayed edgy, he would have gotten all those big Walmart deals and gotten his clothing into big box retailers. It's simple marketing. There's not some super secret hidden agenda to go against black creators. In fact, I'd argue it's the opposite. The Twitch moderation team probably has some of the most progressive woke SJW people on it. Something comparable that I like to point this to is back when DaBaby got cancelled for saying that AIDS stuff, right? After he started to get cancelled, he didn't back down or apologize, and instead he doubled down and started saying all this crazy stuff and acted as if he was bigger than the music industry. But then he started getting removed off of Spotify playlists, and even concerts started to drop him from their lineup. Why do you think that is? Because he's black? No. It's because he said something that was deemed to be offensive, and no company wanted to stand behind it. Everyone is locked into the system. There are a certain set of guidelines that you have to follow if you want to be mainstream. Like even someone like Drake said something like that. Big backlash, and he would be forced to apologize. There's a strict guideline you have to follow. And I think everyone who tries to go against the system is going to fail. You're never bigger than the system. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying how it is. If you want to be seen as a face of Twitch, then you have to act like one. You also have to realize that there are certain trade-offs you have to make to your content for that as well.
In January, he said, "Why are you guys acting like monkeys on his stream?" A black man, perhaps, wasn't even using the word monkey in a racist or derogatory way, said monkey, got banned for a month. A month. A month.
Like, word. What's up with this nigga though?
It gets 30 right now.
Yeah.
Don't get 30, bro.
I said, oh motherfucking god, I hate y'all monkeys, bro. Monkeys get me tight. Monkeys gotta die. Monkeys must die. Monkeys. Oh my fucking god, I hate y'all niggas, bro. Oh my god.
His intent might not have been derogatory, but at this point, shouldn't most Twitch streamers know that the Twitch moderation staff is always going to take every single clip they can in bad faith? It's pretty much the norm at this point, because even if you give a really good defense or justification for it, Twitch has shown time and time again that they just straight up don't care, and they're really anal about this stuff, and it's just a bad company policy issue. Also, I don't know if he thinks Twitch is racist either, but if you just scroll down on the Twitch Twitter page, they literally just promoted a black dude about a week ago. And as for the contract issue, I'd assume you can always hit up your Twitch rep and renegotiate your deal, but I may be wrong on that.
A female Twitch streamer literally showed her genitalia on stream. Straight up showed her genitalia on purpose. And guess what happened? 3-day ban. 3 days.
There was a streamer named Prezzo that just got a ban for being bare-ass naked on stream by accident a couple of days ago. And guess how long his suspension was? 3 days. If Twitch really had an agenda against male content creators on their platform, then by your logic, he would have either gotten a perma or a way longer ban duration, but he didn't.
So this girl, she was banned on Twitch. So she went on Twitter and said, I want to myself and shoot people at Twitch HQ. Ha 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 ha. This is a terrorist threat, threatening to shoot people at Twitch HQ, right? They extend her ban, obviously, to a perma. She wrote an apology letter to Twitch, and this is Twitch's response. After reviewing your case, we confirm that the correct enforcement was issued. However, given the details of your case, including the remorse expressed in your appeal, we have decided to reduce your suspension duration. Your suspension has been adjusted to expire in 22 calendar days. So a little bit less than a month. Literally threatening to harm the people at Twitch HQ. If you write a good enough apology letter, you know what? Just be banned for a month. You'll be all good.
Yeah, this unban was crazy though. They should have never unbanned her in the first place, but in the end, they did rectify it and perma-banned her again.
This is my final thing I want to bring up. I talked about how allegedly Twitch likes to brush things under the rug, how they don't like to address drama or scandals or even atrocities on their own site, like this one. If you guys don't remember, a couple months ago, there was a Buffalo mass shooting where an armed man literally was looking for people of color to gun down. And he live streamed it on Twitch. He literally live streamed it on Twitch. I seen it with my own eyes, not the video, but I seen countless of creators adding Twitch. Twitch, when are you gonna respond? Twitch, we need a response from you. Nothing. They brushed it under the rug. What company do you know would do something that heinous, where they won't even address an act of straight terrorism that happened on their site and just straight up ignored it? Straight up ignored it when their top creators were asking them to please make a response. Nothing. Nada. Zip.
This last part is irresponsible though. Gideon, what are you talking about? This literally just takes one Google search. Just type in Twitch Buffalo shooter statement and this is going to be the first result you see. A statement from Twitch regarding the Buffalo supermarket hate crime. Literally in the first paragraph of this, they condemn this shit. As many members of our community are already aware, on Saturday, May 14th, 2022, a gunman opened fire in a Buffalo, New York supermarket and started streaming it on Twitch. We are heartbroken over this tragedy. This was a violent act of white supremacy, and we condemn it in the strongest possible terms. Our hearts go out to all those affected by this hate crime, the victims, their loved ones, the greater Buffalo community, and the black community everywhere who are victimized by acts of white supremacy and racism. I don't know exactly when this statement was made, maybe a couple days after, or maybe the day of, but they definitely made a statement on this. And for Jidion to say that they straight up didn't make a statement on this is super irresponsible on his part. And to defend Twitch a little bit here, it's super unfortunate what happened and that the guy live streamed on Twitch, but you also have to be realistic. Twitch doesn't have the manpower to single-handedly review every single stream on the platform. I don't think any social media platform does. There are thousands of people on Twitch that are streaming to 0 viewers, and you somehow expect them to be able to police every single thing on their site? I think every single platform has the same problem. Even Facebook, where they have all your data, they have the same problem of people live streaming shootings. It's not as uncommon and outlandish as you think. This video might come off as super pro Twitch, but I promise you that I don't like the Twitch moderation staff either. Another thing I want to touch upon is when Gidion went on the H3H3 podcast. I've also seen clips of him mention this before, comparing the George Floyd bill to other bills. He's basically saying, oh, why is this specific George Floyd bill not getting passed while other bills that are affecting other minorities are?
In the left side, I feel, they're pretty strong allies with the black community, BLM. But, I feel like especially the entire black community, what we're starting to see is, especially around election time, we're more used for votes than it is for actually helping our people. I think it was a George Floyd bill that was supposed to be signed after he had died about police brutality and everything. But that bill to this day still hasn't been signed. But I think a Asian Lives Matter bill has been signed by him. And I feel also that some LGBTQ bill was signed by him. But that bill, it was around the George Floyd era, but that bill to this day has yet to been signed. And
how was I being a liberal racist?
What I'm saying is, I feel like throughout those protests, I think the only bill that was ratified was like a George Floyd bill that to this day, Joe Biden has yet to sign. But there's been an Asian Lives Matter bill after the fact that has been signed. And I feel like there's been an LGBTQ bill that has been signed after the fact. So I feel like the George Floyd protest was the most wasted opportunity in Black American history.
Okay, so
we could have changed so much.
So why are you saying WBLM?
I don't know if Gideon has actually researched what these 3 bills even do yet, but I'm going to show you why the George Floyd bill that he's talking about is way harder to pass than the other 2 bills that he's mentioned. It's honestly a pretty easy Google search anyways, so if he hasn't searched any of these up, I'd also be super disappointed. So the first one that he mentions is the Asian Lives Matter bill, which is the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act. It was introduced into the Senate in March 2021, and then 2 months later it was passed. And what this bill does is it's just mainly a data collection bill. It literally doesn't really even do anything. And this bill isn't even specifically for Asian Americans either. This encompasses all races. It's an anti-hate crime bill for everyone and not just Asian people. This bill requires a designated officer or employee of the DOJ to facilitate the expedited review of hate crimes and reports of hate crimes. DOJ must issue guidance for state, local, and tribal law enforcement agencies on establishing online hate crime reporting processes, collecting data disaggregated by protected characteristics, and expanding education campaigns. Additionally, DOJ and the Department of Health and Human Services must issue guidance aimed at raising awareness of hate crimes during the COVID-19 pandemic. Like, what is the poor old Asian person going to do after they get knocked out by some random homeless person on the street? Report it to a hotline? Really? Yeah, absolutely great job helping Asian people, guys. Let's give a round of applause for this bill. The bill establishes grants for states to create state-run hate crimes reporting hotlines. It also authorizes grants for states and local governments to implement the National Incident-Based Reporting System and to conduct law enforcement activities or crime reduction programs to prevent, address, or respond to hate crimes. Finally, in the case of an individual convicted of a hate crime offense and placed on supervised release, the bill allows a court to order that the individual participate in educational classes or community service as a condition of supervised release. Okay, do you really think the guys that are out here straight up socking old Asian grandmas for no reason would really change their stance or even care about these educational classes? Granted, they still would need to do the hours, but they'd probably just do the amount of hours required and then just dip without having their mind change at all. Like, you don't change someone's mind on a particular race just by having them sit in the classroom and watch a video. This bill does absolutely nothing. I don't know why Jidion is acting like this bill is some radical change that's benefiting Asian Americans all over the United States. The LGBTQ bill that Gidion also mentions has actually still yet to be passed. It's called the Equality Act, but I think he's referencing the executive order that Joe Biden signed back in June of this year. It's Executive Order 14075, advancing equality for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex individuals. It's basically just giving more civil rights for LGBTQ people. It is therefore the policy of my administration to combat unlawful discrimination and eliminate disparities that harm LGBTQ individuals and their families, defend their rights and safety, and pursue a comprehensive approach to delivering the full promise of equality for LGBTQ individuals, consistent with Executive Order 13988 of January 20, 2021, protect LGBTQ individuals' access to medically necessary care from harmful state and local law and practices, and shall promote the adoption of promising policies and practices to support health equity, including in the area of mental health care for LGBTQ youth and adults. The Secretary of HHS shall establish an initiative to reduce the risk of youth exposure to so-called conversion therapy. You guys get the point, right? It's a really long executive order. I don't really want to get deep into it. It's just going to take way too long. But again, to summarize, it's just giving more civil rights for LGBTQ people and making their life easier. But when you take a look at the George Floyd bill that Gideon is mentioning, The changes that they're asking for are way more extreme than the other bills. It's overhauling entire police practices, and these practices don't just affect black people too. It's affecting how they arrest everyone. This bill addresses a wide range of policies and issues regarding policing practices and law enforcement accountability. It increases accountability for law enforcement misconduct, restricts the use of certain policing practices, enhances transparency and data collection, and establishes best practices and training requirements. It establishes a framework to prevent and remedy racial profiling by law enforcement at the federal, state, and local levels. It also limits the unnecessary use of force and restricts the use of no-knock warrants, chokeholds, and carotid holds. As for the chokehold thing, a lot of states have already banned or limited chokeholds. I think New York banned chokeholds back in like the 1990s. And as for the no-knock warrant thing, in order to get a no-knock warrant, you would have to be deep into the investigation, and that no-knock warrant would have to get approved by a judge in the first place. It's not like they're handing no-knock warrants to every single police investigation. And what a no-knock warrant is essentially, let's say that you're a police officer, right? You guys are investigating a drug cartel, and you don't want the cartel to dispose of the evidence before you can even arrest them. So what the no-knock warrant does is, instead of you needing to announce your presence to them, you can just break down the door and just go in and arrest them to prevent them from flushing down the evidence down the toilet, burning it, destroying it, whatever. Lowers your criminal intent standard from willful to knowing or reckless to convict a law enforcement officer for misconduct in a federal prosecution, limits qualified immunity as a defense to liability in a private civil action against a law enforcement officer, and grants administrative subpoena power to the Department of Justice in pattern or practice investigations. If you just take a dig deeper on what these three bills are about, you realize that some of these bills are just significantly easier to pass than the others. Again, to close the video out, I have no ill will towards Jidion. He seems like a really cool guy, but I just think he has to be more careful with his wording, especially when he has such a massive platform, and most of the stuff that he's saying can just be disproven with a quick Google search. I do think his overall message is a good one. There definitely should be an overhaul of how they handle bans over at Twitch, but people have been calling for that for years now, and Twitch has never moved an inch because they were never really forced to, and they're still not going to be forced to. So I don't think there's going to be anything different this time around either. But realistically, if these Twitch streamers really wanted to make a change, they would all have to collectively just stop streaming on Twitch and start streaming on YouTube or another platform to really force Twitch to overhaul their policies and be more transparent. But most of these streamers are just in it for themselves and they don't care. They're just virtue signalers. But anyways, that wraps it up for this video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Peace.